All right. Welcome back to the Blue Cup podcast. This is episode 2, and we're going to be talking home decor and innovations, trade and trends. So with me, I have 3 fantastic guests today, but I go by the name Big Chibs. And on my far right, I have my guy, Debi Ajayi, AJ. Yeah.
I
Hi. And then I call her New York Mo, but we all know her as Foreign Mo. All right, welcome to the show, Mo. Moromoke Amusu.
Hi, everybody.
And then, the brains behind Bella Mai, the spectacular woman, herself, Mrs. E. Eniola. Yeah, welcome to the show, man. All right. So as I said, the topic is home interiors and innovations, the trend and the trade. Yeah, so we're going to be, let me give you a brief history, of how, home interior decor, came about, So if you're looking at home interiors, the first time the world really recorded, decor and home interiors was, dating back to Egyptian civilization, the old Egyptian civilization. And they had, modern, a bit of what you see in our present day, modern, simple designs, for home decors. But then it really kicked off in the Middle Ages, with the Renaissance, especially in France and in Italy, Florence, they had Leonardo da Vinci, they had, Donatello, they had people, Brunelleschi, so these modern architects and designers really took it off. So you see sculptures in courtyards, you see designs. So today we're just going to be discussing, what are the trends in the world currently? What are the trends in Nigeria? How do people warm up to home interior decor and, its current innovations in the world? So, I'm just going to ask our guests, first of all, when did they notice home interiors? Like, when was the first time you really paid attention to home decor? I think I'll start with Moromoke.
Wow, first time. I'd say probably like in the early 2000s. Yes, in the early 2000s. That's when I started to, take notes of what, interior is all about. Say, oh, this is different from this. Or this is not the usual style, Nigerian style. And I say early 2000s for me.
Okay. All right. How about you, Debi?
Funny enough, I've actually never been like an interior person. Let's be honest. So I feel like my very first time with interior design was when I visited a friend. His popsy just built an apartment, and then he had this really nice chandelier. One of them, I'm like, this must have cost a fortune, because I looked at him like, how are you guys so rich for you to be able to afford this? Because I think he said it cost about 4 million. It was then I actually got interested in it, because if you are buying lights for 4 million, I mean, it means that, it's one of the things that you have to, you understand? If you are buying lights for 4 million, it means that your chair alone is so it's from there I started to understand how interior designs and luxury actually helps with the ambience of a place. So I would say, and that was like 4 years ago.
Okay.
So yes, I'm not. I'll just enter a place and enter. Let's come out to the party.
All right.
So for me, I think I've always had that right from childhood. I used to be the one person in my house that I would scatter my room and rearrange it. I would change the where the bed is, my furniture. I'll rearrange it because I want the change. And I've always been very conscious of colors.
Okay.
Like you enter a space. I'm talking about right from when I was like 6.
Wow.
Wow. So I grew up in Kano. I was born in Kano, and the way even buildings are and furniture is very different. You can't be in that kind of environment and not see the difference in how people use furniture and use colors and use textures. So I think it's always been a part of me, and I've always been very I don't think then I knew how to apply what goes where, but I just like rearranging, like shuffling things around and just, messing around.
I was really late to the party.
Yeah, that's a fantastic thing about, growing up in Kano and how the interiors are, different. So, like, I wanted to find out, we all want to know, like, what would, how was that, like, how did it look? And, like, what influenced, that kind of style of interiors? And what did you see? Maybe you could paint a pictorial picture with words for us.
Okay, so, like, we're talking a very, very long time ago. Very long time ago. So, I think what I remember back, like, those puffs, it's leather. Very, very, I was much younger, We're talking, I think I left Kano about 6, 6. And I remember cushions. I remember leather. We used a lot of leather in the house. And I remember there was a lot of reds, browns.
Yeah. So I have a question, because there's one thing I've noticed with the recent interior designing styles. We have gone from the ones where you do colors, you have like purple in this, red in this, now to very minimalistic colors. Now, how has that affected the way you see it?
Okay, so I think right now a lot of people thankfully, social media is more awareness for people's curiosity in their mind. So people are now tending more to a subtle canvas, like whites, grays, light gray, beige. So that would be the main, like the walls of the interior. And then they will accentuate it with colors, They will
just a bit
colors to, make it vibrant. So it enables you to play around.
Yeah. Okay.
Gone are the days that you go to somebody's house and they'll paint their wall green.
Yes,
those
like you hardly see those things now. It's so weird.
Yes.
Like the Igbo people, like, speaking about culture, a lot of people see, like if their houses are really arrayed in gold or, really shouty colors. Like this guy must,
he must be Otogu.
So like, that kind of notion now, and it still like happens with maybe very cultural people that you might see. Like if you go to a very deep-rooted Igbo man's house, you might see like wooden chairs, overlaid with gold.
And then you see animal skin hanging out.
Yeah, so it plays a really big part. And, so...
Okay, for me, I think that as Nigerians and in terms of like housing and interior, I think that we are evolving. We are really evolving as a people. Because, you travel out, you see what is obtainable, overseas, and then they have that idea and they bring it back to Nigeria and they want to replicate
foreign move for
what
you.
and they want to replicate what they see, overseas. Definitely not everything can work in Nigeria, but as much as it can, they definitely try to like replicate whatever they see abroad in Nigeria. And I feel like that even now gives us more room to be creative, to play around with interior design, colors, and all of that.
How have you been able to, or how has Bellarmine been able to tap into this new innovations? Because you mentioned how COVID has actually made people be intentional with their space. So how has Bellarmine been able to tap into that? Because now, since people are more intentional about their space, it means that they will have personal preferences.
Yes.
So how has Bellarmine been involved with that, when people come and say, oh, I want this or I want that? So how have we handled that side of it?
More people, as we realize, we are like Miss she rightfully said, Nigeria is evolving, and when it comes to the interior terrain, there's a lot more awareness, and there are pieces and designs that are not everywhere. They're not easily available.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it's impossible to get it, but it just means it's not as readily available as
it should be.
You want items to be. And, for us to dive into, because we started off, with accent pieces. That was the idea. So, you have your home is set up already. You want to be able to add colors, with furnitures. You want to have, something that looks unique, just, spice up your space. That was how, it started. You have lighting, and then if you have great lighting and you don't have great furniture,
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
You know,
That's
so
100,
it's
yeah.
still, you know,
100.
so that was really how it started. And, you know, as people started telling us, oh, I need this, I want this, I want it in this color, I want it in this texture, you know. So it helped us and enabled us to be able to tailor what their needs and requirements are.
Yeah, with interior designing and, you know, home decor, you know, you really need to consider your weather, you know, in the country, you know, where you are
Absolutely.
in. So, you know, when you mentioned Kano, I know that, you know, they would, you know, maybe keep a lot of spaces with interiors because of the hot
The heat,
weather.
yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
during, towards the Harmattan period, it changes, you know. So, I don't know, for Nigeria, like, what do you see right now, like, with the rainy season? You know, it's summer abroad, you know, it's winter in the south, you know, like South Africa. So, like, we're having different, like, trends, like, right now. So, but in Nigeria, that we find ourselves in right now, what would you say, like, the rainy season trend is, you know?
I think, first of all, what is important when it comes to our rain is ensure the water doesn't come into your house.
If you are living in Lekki, this is not for you because water will enter your house.
So because, you know, we are blessed, you know, with fantastic weather. We have the dry season, we have the rainy season, you know, but when it rains, it pours.
It was.
You know, so, and when another thing that really matters, irregardless of the season, is maintenance. Now, I think we often lack good maintenance. You know, you
typical
have
Nigerian
furnitures,
problem.
you don't clean them regularly. You have light fittings; they're not dusted regularly. Everything will just, you know, it's like
Yeah.
you have a house and you're not living in it.
Yeah.
It's not going to,
Pop, give.
you know,
I mean, it's going to look dead
great
anyways.
Yeah.
with
Degenerate,
time. It's
yeah.
exactly degenerate. So it's about being able to maintain what you have. So, you know, if you have leather furniture, some people don't believe in you clean leather furniture. You just leave it.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It should not be cleaned. It should not be doing. You know, you have to clean it.
Yeah,
you know, you
of course.
use mild soap. You know, soft cloth. Clean it the same way. You know, you sweep every. You know.
Yeah.
You sweep. If you don't sweep, you know, you're just bringing in.
Yes.
You know, dirt and all sorts. You know, so that maintenance culture. So, irregardless of the season, I think if you keep your space welcoming, it will always be a space for you to come back to.
Yeah, and be comfortable in. Yeah. So, you know, like how long do you think one should have, like, keep like certain furniture around? You know, like, okay, in my house, I know I have this chair. You know, this sofa, like, it's been there for like maybe like.
That's seen all the
Yeah, you
girlfriends.
know.
That's seen
Yeah.
everybody.
So, like,
That's,
how often would you advise, like, you know, you get a change in furniture, you know, you relay your letter, you know?
So I don't think there is a general rule as to how long you should use a furniture for. If it works and it's not broken,
Yeah.
why try and fix it?
Okay.
Right? But obviously, you know, there are furnitures, for example, mattress,
Okay.
right? You can't use mattress for 20 years.
Nigerians, are you
That
here?
they've been using that same mattress from decades and they're still using it. Please, go and throw it in.
It has turned to
Why
family.
something
You
else?
heard it,
Family
oh, you heard this.
Yes,
Change
you know,
it.
yeah. So exactly, you know, you have pieces that, you know, for example, if you do a renovation and it doesn't quite sit well with the plan or the decor you have going on for the space, then it means it needs to leave.
Yeah.
It needs to leave that space so something else, something interesting or worthy
More fits in,
can
can
come
stay.
in.
Okay.
That's-
That's cool. So no definite time to change anything, you know, just work with what you have as long as it's not broken. You hear that? But change your mattresses.
Please change it.
Please, and pillows too. And pillows. Very important.
So another question I want to have is, I know I see a lot of movies where you have people say, Alexa, do this for me,
Yeah.
or Alexa, do this for me. So how has Bellarmine been able to include technology in interior
Yeah,
designing, basically?
yeah.
So
Like I think smart homes is the way forward. What we've done is we do sell smart bulbs, so it can change. You know, the bulbs can change. You can control it with an app, and we also have devices that can make your appliances smart, like light fittings. You can make your AC smart. So there's a device that is attached to, for example, this light is just a regular light. It will be attached up, and then there's a gateway.
Okay.
Yeah, the gateway then you link to your phone. So if you use Bluetooth, you can control, you can time it when the light should come on, when it should go off, things like that. Yeah.
All right. So, like we've had a fantastic conversation. Like rounding up, does anybody have anything to say? I think, Debbie, do you have anything to say?
I actually think I've learned a lot. So, no, not at the moment. I don't, because we've covered everything. As someone that really didn't understand how, because my biggest question was the mood, your space affecting your mood, because I realized at some point in my life I liked dark spaces. I don't like, but when I moved to where I live recently, it's very bright. So you can actually tell the difference from where I was and where I am. Yeah, so I feel, yes, you've actually helped me understand how, your space would actually influence you as a person.
Yeah.
And that's
I think I didn't buttress the point well enough that when you're in a work environment, like in banks, you notice banks, they don't use soft colored lights.
It's always bright.
They use white.
Yeah.
Because they need you to be alert. They need the people in the space to be functioning. The same way as hospitals and things, they will not use warm white. Like you go to a theater room, they will not have colorful lights going on. It has to be white, because they need precision. The same way as in the kitchen, we always suggest white lights because it's a task area. And when you enter into your living room or your bedroom, you want to be able to layer the lights. You want to be able to make it cozy that, you can switch off.
And just chill.
Just chill and not feel like I'm at work. Yeah. So it does a lot to the mood.
All right. So Porimo, anything,
I would just like to plug in Precise Lighting, Bella My Furniture's homeware. That's all.
Yeah.
Just plugging in real quick. Please.
I was going to say something. We can't really cover it all, today, but you can always reach out to, Bella Mai on IG, Precise Lighting on IG. You can even, reach out and say you want to speak with Mrs. E herself. You need to get, some knowledge from her, or Debbie, he has learned one or two, so he can put you. He can put you.
But it's for a fee. No, I don't do it for free because I learn, so you pay.
Definitely. So that's all for today's episode. Thank you very much, Mrs. E.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Porimo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for us to have you again.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. That's a wrap.
Thank you. Bye.